You find a location, you hire a chef, and you watch the tables fill up. That's the dream everyone carries around. You build a place where the whole neighborhood shows up on a Friday night, and it sounds like the most human business on earth. But beneath the surface, it is a relentless, exhausting operation. You are essentially running a perishable inventory factory, a retail counter, and a full-time staffing agency, all inside a single building, all at the exact same time. Let's look at the math behind a genuinely successful spot. This central block represents $1 million in annual gross revenue. It's a major financial milestone that many independent restaurants aim for. $1 million flowing into the register sounds like total financial security. But in this industry, the margin for error is nearly zero. From the moment you unlock the front door, the rest of the business model is just an aggressive, relentless process of subtraction. Before a single meal is ever cooked, you have to actually build the physical space. The range here is enormous. A light renovation in an existing room might run you $100 a square foot. But if you are building an ambitious concept from the ground up, that construction cost can easily explode past $800 a square foot. Then you hit the costs nobody warns you about. In some states, a liquor license is a simple government fee. But in places like California, licenses are strictly capped by population. You have to buy them on the open market from someone who already has one, meaning a full liquor license in a major city can easily cost over $400,000 before you've poured a single drink. And heavy foot traffic doesn't actually tell you what people are willing to spend. If you drop an expensive fine dining concept onto a street looking for a $9 burrito, you have a massive problem. Once a commercial lease is signed, your concept is permanently locked to the specific economic habits of that exact street. This is why restaurants rarely fail because the food is bad. They fail because the math of the concept never matched the math of the neighborhood it's sitting in. Look closely. This 65% slice represents prime cost, your combined food and labor expenses. Keeping this under 65% is required to survive. But turnover hides an invisible drain. Replacing a single employee quietly burns over $5,000. Percentages can be incredibly deceptive. A $35 steak has a 30% ingredient cost, while an $18 pasta sits at a highly efficient 20%. But look at actual cash. The steak leaves $24 in profit. The pasta leaves only $15. The steak looks far less efficient on paper, but it does significantly more work for the business. Smart operators stop obsessing over food cost percentages and prioritize the absolute dollars they need to actually pay the fixed rent. Inside the dining room, an empty table is not neutral. Rent doesn't pause because a seat sat empty for an hour. Once a dinner service ends, whatever revenue that table could have generated is gone forever. There is no way to box it up and sell it tomorrow. The food is the draw. It is what gets the neighborhood through the front doors. But it is rarely bar. Beer, wine, and liquor carry enormous gross margins of 75 to 80%. That beverage program acts as a silent subsidy, quietly propping up the expensive, labor-heavy kitchen operating right underneath it. And keeping those seats full relies on algorithms you don't control. For an independent restaurant, a Harvard Business School study found a single one-star increase on Yelp translates to a 5 to 9% revenue bump. A drop in rating does the exact same financial damage in reverse. You are managing a highly volatile ecosystem. The food buys the public's attention, but the drinks and the speed at which you can turn those tables over are what actually buy your survival. For a long time, owners looked for a way to escape the physical limits of that dining room. Delivery apps looked like the perfect answer, offering more visibility and extra orders with seemingly minimal overhead. On paper, it looked like free money. This chart shows what actually happens to a $20 delivery order. Between base commissions of 15 to 30%, payment processing fees, and marketing placements just to rank in local search, the platform strips away 30 to 40% of the order's entire value. Investors thought they could outsmart this by building ghost kitchens, massive delivery-only operations with no waiters and no dining rooms. They poured venture capital into the space, assuming that cutting out the front-of-house labor would finally make the math work. It didn't, and several major ghost kitchen networks collapsed entirely. The math doesn't degrade slowly, it breaks immediately. You simply cannot run a business built on a 10% net margin and hand over 35% of your revenue to a technology platform. Consider the career of Danny Meyer. He spent decades building the Union Square Hospitality Group and literally wrote the modern playbook on restaurant service, treating staff and community as the ultimate foundation for profit. His successes are massive. He built world-renowned establishments and launched concepts like Shake Shack, which scaled seamlessly into its own public company. Yet, even inside that immense success, with the best resources in the industry, entire concepts under his own company have quietly closed their doors. This happens because of a structural reality that no operator can escape. You are permanently tethered to a physical address. Your kitchen is locked to one exact zip code, one strict lease term, and one highly specific local labor pool. If a new development pulls foot traffic 3 blocks away, or if your rent spikes, the quality of the food upstairs becomes almost irrelevant. No amount of enlightened hospitality or culinary brilliance can out-argue a broken local economy. Let's bring this back to our million-dollar baseline. In a highly optimistic scenario, where your beverage program subsidizes the food and your prime costs hold steady, this graphic shows what is actually left. After operating expenses, debt service, and taxes, you are left with this tiny 7% slice, $70,000 of actual net profit.
Now, let's look at a realistic scenario. If your prime costs creep up by just 4 to 6 percentage points from untracked waste in the kitchen or the invisible cost of high turnover, that margin doesn't just dip, it gets wiped out completely, pushing the business into an outright loss. There is a massive disconnect here. People love cooking at home for their friends, and they assume that passion translates into running a kitchen for 200 covers a night. It doesn't. The people who actually survive in this industry don't run their restaurant like a passion project. They treat it as a rigorous, spreadsheet-driven, cash-intensive manufacturing line. It just happens to be a manufacturing line that produces something romantic.